At 3:06 a.m., August 13th, something entered your home. Archangel Michael saw it. He says you're not alone anymore. Open this before sunset. At exactly 3:06 a.m., August 13th, the air shifted. The silence in your home thickened, as if the atmosphere itself was holding its breath. You may not have heard footsteps, but your spirit felt the tremor, that subtle tightening in the chest, the flicker of awareness that something unseen had crossed the threshold. This was not a sound in the physical, but a presence in the unseen. It did not nod. It did not wait for permission. It stepped in, as if drawn to something here, something in you. And Michael saw it. The Archangel, the warrior of heaven, stood watch in the higher realms and witnessed the exact second it crossed over. His eyes do not sleep, and his sword does not dull. In that instant, he recognized this as more than an ordinary moment. He knew this was an intersection of time and eternity, a mark in the spiritual ledger of your life. What entered was not random. It was not accidental. It was part of a deeper movement, one that has been tracking you, observing you, perhaps even waiting for a moment like this. This message is not for everyone. If you are hearing these words and your chest feels heavy, if you've noticed a quiet unease since the date, the message is for you. If your nights have been restless, your mind carrying strange fragments of thought, or your emotions have felt out of place, then you already know something came and it has not left. It lingers, not as a guest, but as an influence, shaping the air around you, nudging the tone of conversations, subtly pressing against your thoughts. The heavens run on divine markers, and this is one of them. Before the sun sets today, a decision will be made in the spirit realm about you. Whether the decision is written in the ink of freedom or the ink of delay depends on what you do between now and then. That is why this message has been placed before you at this exact hour. Heaven does not waste words. You are not hearing this by coincidence. Now be still. Be watchful. For in moments like these, the one who moves too quickly misses the whisper. And it is in the whisper where the strategy is revealed. Those who keep noise around them will never discern the quiet knock of the divine, or the quiet tread of something else. Still yourself. Listen. This is not the kind of moment you scroll past. The spiritual interference is real, but only the alert will see it for what it is. You are being called to notice, to discern, and to act before the light fades. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 0909 is now covering your home. Archangel Michael stands now, not in dream, not in symbol, but in the reality of the spirit, with his sword drawn, edge glinting like fire under the breath of heaven. His wings are spread wide, not for show, but as a shield stretched over the threshold of your home. His feet are planted at the place where the invisible line is drawn, the line where what stalks you cannot cross if you do not give it permission. He has been stationed here since the early hours, for he knows that what came at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th was not a shadow without purpose, but a visitor with an agenda. Michael does not fear it, but neither does he dismiss it. He knows the weight of such moments. He knows that the one who hesitates in discernment may open their door without realizing it. This is why you are being addressed now, because by sunset today, what follows you will either be bound or invited deeper. There is no neutral ground in this matter. Spiritual presences do not loiter without reason. And hear this, not everything that enters is meant to harm, but not everything that stays is meant to stay. Some presences arrive to test, to expose, to pressure you toward decisions you did not know you were ready to make. Others arrive to weaken the walls of your faith until cracks appear where there were none. The key is knowing which one is in your midst, This is the divine interruption, heaven breaking the silence so that your steps are not misled. You are not stumbling into this warning. You were intercepted by it. If your pulse is quickening now, if you feel an inexplicable tug in your chest, it is because your spirit recognizes this call. Long before you opened your eyes this morning, your name was spoken in the council chambers of heaven. Michael himself was charged to deliver you this moment, a moment where the veil is thinner, where the atmosphere is sharpened, where truth is handed to you like a key. This message hath been tagged to your spirit since before dawn. It is not for all it is for yours. You may have noticed it, the slight shift in the way light feels in your space, the subtle hum of unrest just beneath the skin of ordinary life. Perhaps there has been an edge to conversations, a heaviness in the air, or a strange sequence of thoughts that feel both foreign and familiar. These are not random. These are signatures of a presence that has made its claim to stand here, and yet, the decision of whether it stays or is cast out will be settled in hours. Michael's sword is not drawn for display, it is drawn for battle. The wings you cannot see are not for ornament, they are for the covering of the chosen. Even now, he waits for your agreement, for your stance in the spirit to match heaven's readiness. If you yield to fear, you give it foothold. If you yield to faith, you starve it. What will it be before the sun dips below the horizon? Time is not your ally in delay. The window to act is narrow because heaven has aligned this day, this hour, this very message for your defense. Understand, there are battles fought in your name that you will never see, but this is not one of them. This battle is being brought into your awareness so you can stand as one who owns the territory, not as one hiding from the storm. You are not just a witness to this moment. You are a participant. So I call upon you now. Stand in stillness, but not in passivity. Stand in alertness, but not in panic. Feel the weight of Michael's presence at your threshold. Feel the nearness of God's authority that moves through the air when his messengers take position. For the adversary is not intimidated by your walls or your locks, only by your alignment with heaven's will. And that alignment begins in this moment. Before the sun sets, your voice, your thoughts, and your choices will set the record in the spirit realm. Decide now whom you host. Decide now what presence is allowed to breathe your air. Decide now to let Michael finish what he came to do. Type "I stand with Michael" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 717 is now active in your home. There are things you've noticed lately, things you cannot easily explain without feeling as though the words might sound strange to someone else. Whispers that seem to come from the corner of the night, not loud enough to be words, yet heavy enough to shift your thoughts. A shadow that moves not when you turn your head, but only in the space between your blinks. Perhaps you caught it in the periphery, there, then gone. It never steps fully into sight, but it never fully disappears. Your home has been different since that moment at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th. The air feels like it remembers something you can't quite place. Objects seem subtly misplaced, though you know you didn't move them. And your pets, if you have them, have seen what you have not. A sudden bark at an empty hallway, a low growl toward a vacant corner, a hesitant step into a familiar room as though something unseen now lingers there. This kind of disruption is not only in the natural, it bleeds into your emotions. A heaviness settles in the mornings without cause. Conversations that should have been light suddenly become tense. Thoughts you would never claim as your own pass through your mind like they belong there, planting unease. You may have found yourself staring off into nothing, yet feeling as if something, or someone, was staring back. There may even be a betrayal hidden in this moment. Someone's words, perhaps spoken casually, perhaps whispered in frustration, may have been the doorway, Words carry authority in the spirit realm, and not every word spoken about you was birthed from love. It could have been in jest, in anger, or in envy, but it opened a crack in the spiritual walls surrounding your space. And what entered that night stepped through an invitation it did not need your mouth to give. They think they know you, heaven says, but they only know the old version of you. What entered did not come for who you are in their mind. It came for who you truly are becoming. The unseen realm always recognizes transformation before the natural world catches up. The enemy knows your upgrades before you receive them. That is why the pressure is here now, before your next door opens. You might be questioning your own senses. You might be wondering if this is just fatigue, stress, or coincidence. But deep inside, you know the difference. You know the difference between being tired and being spiritually drained. You know the difference between random discomfort and the sharp, targeted kind that feels like eyes following you in a room you thought was empty. It is not your imagination. The pressure you feel, the unsettled nights, the irrational tension, these are signals. This presence did not come to announce itself in grand displays. It came to slip beneath your awareness, to settle in unnoticed until it could influence without being confronted. That is why Michael is here, why heaven is speaking, why this moment has been drawn to you before sunset. You are not powerless, but you are not permitted to ignore it either. This is where you lean in, not away. This is where you take inventory of your atmosphere, your thoughts, your words. This is where you refuse to accept that this heaviness is just the way things are now. You are being observed, yes, but you are also being guarded. And in the tension between those two truths lies your authority to choose what remains. Type I see the signs in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 4488 is now upon you. And beloved, if this word has touched your spirit and you feel the pull of heaven in it, then know, what we do here together reaches far beyond a screen. Every message released here is seed sown into the soil of someone's breakthrough. When you support this mission, through YouTube Super Thanks, becoming a channel member, or giving via the PayPal link in the description, you're not funding a platform. You're releasing the oil that keeps the lamps burning. The word says in Proverbs 11:25, the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. And I declare over you, as you sow, rivers of refreshing will find your home. I feel in my spirit that some will give today as a prophetic act, sealing their agreement with heaven's defense over their household. Do it now, and may your gift speak for you in the courts of heaven. What happened at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th was not a random ripple in the atmosphere. It was a strike in an ongoing war, a war not waged in flesh and blood, but in powers, principalities, and unseen rulers of darkness. The unease you have felt is not a symptom without a cause. It is the echo of battle lines drawn in the spirit. You have been experiencing the tremors of warfare that is happening around and concerning you. This is why the message is urgent. This is why Michael himself has taken position. You are not being harassed simply because you exist. You are being targeted because you are marked. Heaven's seal is upon you, and that seal is visible in the unseen realm. You may feel invisible in the natural, but in the spirit, your name is radiant with the mark of God's calling. That light attracts angelic allies, but it also draws adversarial eyes. The darkness will always notice the ones carrying authority before they even step into their assignment. Do not make the mistake of thinking this is only about the discomfort you felt in your home. The enemy never wastes energy on ground that does not matter. If the pressure has found you, it is because you hold ground, spiritual territory, generational inheritance, divine assignments that matter in the eternal timeline. You are a carrier of destiny, and that destiny is the very reason your atmosphere has shifted. Understand this: the discomfort, the strange heaviness, the sudden changes in emotion, the whispered lies in the back of your mind. These are tactics of a strategic enemy. They are not meant to scare you into retreat. They are meant to lure you into agreement. Fear feeds the intruder. Faith stars it. When you give it fear, you nourish its permission to linger. When you give it faith, you strip it of the right to remain. Every reaction you choose now is currency in the spiritual economy. And do not think for a moment that heaven is unaware. Heaven's surveillance is constant. There has not been one sigh, one restless night, one moment of unease that went unnoticed. Even your silent tears are collected as testimony, evidence in the ongoing case heaven builds against the forces sent against you. That is why this warning comes now, so that you will not accidentally surrender your authority by mishandling this moment. Michael stands guard because you are not just defending yourself. You are defending the territory of your assignment. You are not simply a person under attack. You are a steward of kingdom property. And the adversary knows, if he can cause confusion now, if he can weigh you down with the false belief that you are powerless, he can slow the unfolding of what you were born to carry. You must see this for what it is. This is not just discomfort. This is warfare. And the battlefield is not somewhere far away. It is here, in your space, in your thoughts, in the very air you breathe. But take heart, for the presence of the enemy does not mean the absence of God. In fact, the very fact that you are aware of this battle means heaven is already positioning you for the win. Lift your eyes from the weight of what you feel to the certainty of who fights for you. Michael does not draw his sword for battles that heaven has not already written victory over. And the God who has marked you has no intention of letting your story end in defeat. Your awareness is your first weapon. Your agreement with heaven's authority is your second. And your refusal to feed fear is the lock that closes the door in the enemy's face. So stand, not as one under siege, but as one defending a kingdom outpost. You are not just surviving this moment. You are establishing that your house, your heart, and your destiny belong to the one who called you. This is the truth of the conflict. You are valuable, and heaven is invested in protecting that value. Type "I choose faith" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 5555 now shields your space. Before the third night passes, this presence will attempt its influence. Not in an obvious, theatrical display that announces itself. No, it will come with subtler threads, weaving itself into your atmosphere, your thoughts, your emotions. It will seek entry not through force, but through agreement. And that is why you must hear this now, before it takes root. The tension you have felt is not random. It is building toward something. Like a storm forming far beyond the horizon, the pressure is gathering, and soon, you will feel it in ways that cannot be dismissed. There will be moments in the coming hours when emotions rise without clear cause. Arguments may spark suddenly over small things. Dreams may grow more vivid, strange, or even unsettling. These are not disconnected events. They are indicators that the presence that entered at 3:06 a.m. is seeking deeper access. It will attempt to touch the edges of your decisions. It may arrive through a sudden wave of frustration when you were at peace. It may come in the form of a temptation to withdraw from what you were committed to. It may whisper in your mind that you are misunderstood, forgotten, or unloved. Every one of these is bait, not truth. But hear this: Michael has already seen the attempt. Heaven has already logged the tactic. And the reason you are being warned now is because foreknowledge is your advantage. The enemy thrives in surprise, in catching you unaware. But when you have been told beforehand, the ground beneath him is already weakened. There is something else you need to understand. The pressure will peak before it breaks. That means, in the moment where the tension feels strongest, you will be closer to breakthrough than you realize. This is the nature of spiritual opposition. The closer you are to stepping into your next level, the more desperate the interference becomes. This is not a sign you are losing. It is a sign you are near crossing over. In these next 2 days, you will have opportunities to either anchor the presence or dismantle it. The difference will not be in dramatic rituals or visible battles, but in the small choices of your spirit. Will you guard your words when provoked? Will you pause in prayer instead of reacting in frustration? Will you refuse to let fear narrate your situation? These are the deciding factors. The enemy does not always need your destruction. Sometimes he only needs your agreement to delay you. There is a reason the warning comes with a timestamp before the third night passes. The realms are not random. The plans of heaven and the plots of darkness are both bound to divine timings. If you can keep the door shut for these hours, if you can hold your atmosphere in alignment with heaven's will, this attempt will pass, and the enemy will have wasted his effort. And yet, be aware, the whispers may not all sound like whispers. Some may come through familiar voices. Some may come through situations that seem entirely natural but carry a subtle spiritual pull. Do not take everything at face value in these next hours. Wait in your spirit. Ask yourself, does this draw me closer to peace or closer to unrest? Peace will always carry the fingerprint of God. Unrest will always seek to cloud your vision. Michael is stationed, but his victory in your space requires your agreement. Heaven will not override your will. This is your house, your territory, your name. The choice to close the door belongs to you. And once it is shut, no presence that stands against the will of God will be able to cross it. So take this as your sign. The pressure you feel is not to break you. It is to test whether you will stand. And as you stand, you will find that the one who came to influence will leave empty-handed. The third night will come, and the air in your home will shift again, this time in your favor. Type "I will stand" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 3030 now seals your protection. Now that you know what has entered, now that you have felt its pressure and heard heaven's warning, the question is no longer if there is a presence. The question is how you will respond. And the first thing you must know is this: do not chase it. Do not try to reason with it. Do not attempt to explain yourself to it. The enemy's tactic is to pull you into dialogue, because agreement often comes wrapped in conversation. The voice of heaven is clear. Guard your speech. Every word you release becomes material for the spirit realm to work with. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and the one who entered seeks a single phrase, a single moment of weakness, a single word of self-doubt or fear to claim as permission. You cannot afford to be careless. The safest posture right now is silence toward darkness and prayer toward God. Do not feed it attention. Evil craves acknowledgement in the same way weeds crave water. If you continually focus on it, speak of it, or give it emotional energy, you are unknowingly nourishing it. Instead, turn your focus deliberately toward the one who holds all authority. Speak the name of Jesus over your home. Whisper it if you must, but say it with faith. Invoke Michael's shield over your dwelling. Imagine it, not as a concept, but as a living reality. A radiant barrier of light surrounding every door, every window, every threshold. See his sword flashing, not in aggression toward you, but in defense against anything that would cross without heaven's permission. Call on him by name. Michael, stand at my gates. Michael, stand at my walls. Michael, enforce the order of heaven in my house. The spirit realm responds to the voice of faith. And do not underestimate the power of God's light. You carry within you a flame that darkness cannot approach without permission. Fan that flame by worship, even softly, even under your breath. Let Scripture pass through your lips like a key turning a lock. Psalm 91, Isaiah 54:17, Ephesians 6. These are not just verses. They are weapons forged for this kind of hour. Speak them aloud in your home. Darkness can endure silence, but it cannot endure light-filled truth declared with authority. You must also guard the gates of your mind. In this time, images, thoughts, and memories may be stirred in an attempt to unsettle you. Reject them outright. Say in your spirit, "This is not mine. I return it to the sender." Then immediately replace it with a verse, a worship line, or a truth you know cannot be shaken. The mind is often the first battlefield, and if you win there, you will find the rest of the war tilting in your favor. There is another weapon you must wield now, the discipline of peace. Not passive peace that ignores reality, but active peace that refuses to bow to chaos. When you choose calm in the face of provocation, you deny the enemy the reaction he came for. This is not weakness. This is spiritual strength. If you can, anoint your home. Take oil, even the simplest kitchen oil, if that is all you have, and set it apart in prayer. Touch it to the doors, the windows, the rooms where the heaviness has been strongest, and declare, "This space is sealed in the name of Jesus. Only what is sent by God may dwell here." Is not the oil that has the power, but the faith with which you apply it. And remember, you are not standing in this battle alone. Michael is here. Heaven is watching. The Spirit of God dwells within you. No presence, no matter how persistent, can overpower a soul aligned with the will of God. Your role is to stay in that alignment until this attempt passes. So tonight, when the shadows stretch and the air grows quiet, let your home be filled not with fear, but with stillness. Pray, declare, rest, and know that in the unseen realm, angels are stationed, walls are reinforced, and your territory is being held. Type "I am covered" in the comments if you receive this word. Lesson code 4114 now surrounds your home. You have heard the warning. You have been given the instructions. But now, you must hear this truth. You are not a victim. You are not a fragile soul waiting for rescue, nor a helpless bystander watching the battle from a distance. You are the host of divine fire. The Spirit of the living God dwells within you, and nothing in heaven or on earth is greater than the one who resides inside your spirit. When you felt the shift at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th, it may have rattled you. It may have caused you to second-guess your strength. But in the spirit realm, that moment was not the arrival of defeat. It was the announcement of your awakening. For too long, you may have underestimated what you carry. You may have thought of yourself as simply getting by, unaware that the very atmosphere of your home responds to the authority of your voice. It is time to rise, not with arrogance but with certainty. You are not in this position by accident. Heaven has appointed you to be the gatekeeper of your space, your family, your calling. The same power that raised Christ from the dead is alive within you. That power is not symbolic, it is literal. And when you speak in alignment with God's will, it is as though heaven itself leans forward to enforce your words. I see you now like an eagle, wings unfolding in the high places. Where fear once kept your gaze low, now your sight lifts above the storm. You will not be swept away by the turbulence. You will rise above it, The presence that entered came expecting resistance from the outside, but it did not anticipate the fire within you. And that fire is about to burn away every shadow. Lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. You are not merely someone under protection. You are someone under assignment. The angels that surround you are not there out of pity. They are there because you have been entrusted with territory. And that territory must be held with strength. Hear this. You are no longer who you were before that moment. The very experience of sensing His presence, hearing heaven's instructions, has shifted you. You have crossed from passive awareness into active authority. The old you might have prayed only for the fear to stop. The new you will pray for the kingdom to advance. The old you might have waited for the storm to pass. The new you will speak to the storm and see it still. This is why you cannot shrink back. Shrinking back gives ground. Rising in authority takes it back. And as you stand now, you are not just defending against what has entered. You are preparing to expand beyond where you have been. For the enemy to come at this time, with this intensity, is proof that you are on the verge of a breakthrough so significant that it threatens his hold over others connected to you. Begin to declare it. I am marked for victory. I am seated in heavenly places with Christ. My home is holy ground. My life is in covenant with God. Speak these truths daily, not as empty repetition, but as battle cries that reinforce the spiritual walls around you. From this point forward, walk through your home like one who owns it in the Spirit. Every step is an act of possession, every word of faith a claim to your inheritance. Let worship rise in your space. Let joy break through the heaviness. Let your light become so strong that anything not aligned with God's will find your home intolerable. You are not the hunted. You are the one who shifts atmospheres, who changes the climate of the unseen realm. And as you rise in that truth, even the memory of fear will begin to lose its grip. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1122 is now activated over your life. The presence that entered at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th was not simply a random spirit passing through. Heaven reveals now, it was a test and a trigger. It was sent to expose the contents of your atmosphere and to reveal the hidden strengths within you that you may not have recognized until pressure brought them forward. This was never just about your comfort, it was about your calling. Your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven. There, before the Ancient of Days, your assignments have been reviewed. Your seasons have been weighed, and your readiness has been measured. But hear this. Your name has also been mentioned in the camps of your enemy. They have marked you as one to watch, one to hinder, one to distract. This is not meant to make you fearful. It is meant to open your eyes to the reality that you matter in the eternal strategy of God. The attack is not proof of your weakness. It is confirmation of your worth. If the enemy thought you were insignificant, there would be no attempt to infiltrate your space. The very presence of opposition means there is something worth opposing. And the fact that you are receiving this word right now is proof that heaven is unwilling to let you be overtaken by what was meant to intimidate you. Michael stands, not only as your defender, but as a witness to your rising authority. This battle is both defense and promotion. By withstanding this pressure, you are stepping into a greater measure of spiritual capacity. You are being trusted with more authority in prayer, more discernment in the Spirit, more influence in the kingdom. And with greater authority comes a greater mantle of responsibility. The shaking you have felt has loosened more than fear. It has dislodged limitations you did not know were still binding you. The unease you have battled is actually a prelude to unlocking doors you have been praying over for years. The enemy came to distract you from them, but heaven will use the same pressure to push you into them. And here is what you must grasp. Your breakthrough is not just for you. When you rise, you shift the atmosphere for your household, for those you are called to intercede for, and for the generations connected to your name. Your faith in this moment will echo in ways you cannot yet see. In the spirit realm, I see scrolls being unsealed. I see records of delay being overturned. I see assignments of hindrance being struck through with the seal of canceled. And I see a light pouring into your home, not a soft, dim glow, but a bold, golden flood that makes every shadow flee. This is the prophetic revelation. The battle you are facing is not the end of something. It is a threshold into something new. The enemy's resistance is confirmation that the door in front of you leads to a greater measure of purpose, provision, and protection. Do not give up at the doorway. Step through. Speak through. Life through. The decision you make before sunset will determine the pace of what unfolds next. Choose favor. Choose alignment. Choose to stand as one whose name is known in heaven. Type "My name is written" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 7722 now moves ahead of you. If this word has stirred something deep in you, then I urge you, let's not just hear it, let's act on it together. Every prophetic message released here is a seed that heaven uses to pierce through darkness and set captives free. When you give, whether through YouTube Super Thanks, by becoming a member, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content, you are fueling kingdom advancement. As it is written in 2 Corinthians 9:10, now he who supplies seed to the sower will also increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. Today, I speak over every giver, that the same angels who guard this word will guard your finances, your family, and your future. Give now as a prophetic act, and watch the heavens respond to your obedience. The moment you choose agreement with heaven, something shifts in the unseen realm. Angels take their positions, barriers are reinforced, and the sound of chains breaking echoes through the corridors of the Spirit. This is the moment we have been moving toward, the activation of your destiny in this hour. Heaven is not waiting for more time to pass. It is waiting for your yes. That yes is not a casual nod. It is a declaration that reverberates beyond the natural. When you say, "I belong to God," you are signing your name into the active orders of the kingdom. You are placing yourself under the full jurisdiction of heaven, and in doing so, you revoke every illegal claim the enemy has tried to make against your life and your home. Speak it aloud now. I am God's property. My home is God's territory. My life is under God's covenant. The spoken word is a spiritual transaction. It seals what you believe and invites heaven to enforce it. This is the hour to invite angelic dwelling into your space. Ask Michael and the hosts of heaven to remain stationed at your doors. Ask them to patrol your walls. Welcome them to fill your rooms with the presence of God so heavily that no foreign spirit can remain. Do not imagine this as metaphor. Imagine it as reality, because in the spirit realm, it is. There is also a practical dimension to this activation. Cleanse your home. This is not superstition. It is prophetic alignment. Walk through each room, declaring its purpose in the kingdom. Remove anything the Holy Spirit highlights as a point of agreement with darkness, whether it's an object, a piece of media, or even a lingering atmosphere from past seasons. You are declaring, this space belongs to God in its entirety. Anoint the thresholds of your home. Place oil on the top and sides of your doors while declaring Exodus 12:23, that the destroyer may not enter your house. As you do this, see in your spirit the glow of heaven's seal marking your entrance. Then, speak protective scripture aloud. Let your walls hear it. Let the very air be saturated with it. Say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, Isaiah 54:17. Say, he will command his angels concerning me, to guard me in all my ways, Psalm 91:11. Say, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world, 1 John 4:4. These are not empty words. They are legal decrees in the court of heaven. Remember, activation is not passive. It requires participation. When you choose faith over fear, declaration over silence, obedience over hesitation, you step into the authority God has always intended for you to walk in. And when you stand in that authority, the presence that entered at 3:06 a.m. will find itself confronted not with a frightened soul, but with a fortified warrior. You are not merely removing something. You are replacing it with something greater. You are not just evicting darkness. You are inviting a fresh outpouring of God's glory into your space. And where glory dwells, no intruder can linger. Do not delay this activation. Every moment you wait is a moment the enemy can attempt to sow doubt. Move now. Speak now. Cleanse now. Align now. And when you have done these things, stand in stillness and know the seal of God is over you. The blood of the Lamb is your covering, and the hosts of heaven are your defense. By sunset, the record in the Spirit will be set. Let it read that you did not hesitate. You did not shrink back, and you did not compromise. Let it read that you stood as one chosen, sealed, and activated for destiny. Type "I am activated" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 9090 is now written over your life. While you have been awake and alert in the natural, there has been another unfolding in a place your eyes cannot see. The spirit realm hath been active, not in noise, not in chaos, but in the quiet precision of divine strategy. This is the silent exchange. It is not the clash of swords you might imagine. It is the deliberate, measured movement of heaven reclaiming what is yours. Last night, while you slept, Michael stood guard. His presence did not waver. His sword did not lower. The one who entered at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th has been watched with the same scrutiny a soldier gives to an intruder inside the city walls. But this was not only defense, this was negotiation. Angels do not bargain for your safety as if they might lose. They enforce it with the weight of heaven's authority. While you wept, every tear was counted. Each drop was entered into heaven's record, not as weakness but as evidence. Evidence that you endured pressure without surrendering your covenant. Evidence that you did not invite darkness, even when it sought an open door. Evidence that you belong to the Lord of hosts. In the unseen chambers, accusations may have been raised against you, whispers of your past, reminders of mistakes, lies twisted into claims of ownership. The enemy may have attempted to present these as grounds for his presence. But hear this: your advocate, the one seated at the right hand of the Father, has already answered them. The blood speaks a better word, and in that word, every false claim is struck down. I see in the Spirit a table set, not of food, but of scrolls. Decrees are being exchanged. Orders that allowed interference are being revoked. The presence that lingered is being stripped of its standing. Territory is being reassigned, not away from you, but back to you. This is the justice of God in motion, not loud, but unstoppable. Not showy, but final. It is the reclaiming of stolen peace. It is the return of clarity where confusion tried to live. It is the closing of a gate the enemy thought he could leave open. And here is the mystery. You sensed this before it happened. Perhaps it was a sudden calm, a moment where the air felt different, a flash of knowing in your spirit that something was shifting. That was the resonance of heaven's verdict reaching your atmosphere. You may not have heard the words in the natural, but your spirit caught the echo. Understand this: in the courts of heaven, transactions are not like those on earth. Here, victory is not just a future event. It is a legal reality the moment God decrees it. And when He decrees it, the physical must eventually align. That is why you can rest now. Even before you see every sign in the natural, the case has already been settled in your favor. But do not mistake silence for inaction. The absence of visible drama is not the absence of power. The exchange is taking place in perfect order, without the need for your fear or your striving. Your role is to stay aligned, to keep the atmosphere of your home and your heart in agreement with the verdict heaven has already spoken. The same presence that entered thinking it could remain will leave knowing it has no claim. And when it does, it will not take anything with it. In fact, it will leave behind the very things it tried to keep from you: joy, focus, energy, peace. The enemy will lose both his ground and his leverage. By the time the third night passes, you will feel the shift completely. The tension will break. The heaviness will lift. And you will know, without doubt, that the silent exchange has been completed and your home is once again under the full and exclusive covering of heaven. Type "the verdict is mine" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 8844 is now written into your atmosphere. The balance has shifted. Heaven's court has issued its decree, and the weight of that ruling is now pressing back against what pressed against you. The adversary that entered at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th came with confidence, but it will leave in defeat. And it will not leave quietly. It will leave under the force of divine justice. You must understand, God does not merely remove the hand of the enemy. He reverses the effect of the enemy's touch. The harm intended for you becomes a harvest for you. What was meant to drain you is transformed into strength. The schemes designed to bind you unravel, and in their unraveling, they expose the weakness of the one who sent them. The enemy hoped to find you weary, vulnerable, distracted. He expected to operate unnoticed, to plant seeds of confusion and leave you chasing shadows. But because you were warned, because you chose to align with heaven, the script has been rewritten. And now, every step the enemy took toward you becomes the very path by which heaven delivers your restoration. This is divine reversal, the folding in of the adversary's plan until it collapses on itself. I see in the spirit a snare meant for your feet, now catching the one who said it. I see words spoken in secret, intended to curse, now being turned into a declaration of blessing over your life. I see doors the enemy tried to close, now swinging open because the very force he used to seal them has been overruled. And this is not happening by your strength alone. The Lord is your defender, your judge, your avenger. His justice is not delayed, and His memory does not fade. Every sleepless night, every wave of anxiety, every tear shed in this battle has been accounted for. Not one had been wasted. They are all part of the evidence heaven is now using to render judgment in your favor. But God's justice is not only about your defense, it is also about your restoration. This is why you will see not only the removal of what came against you, but the return of what was lost. Peace will be restored, yes, but also focus, energy, opportunities, and favor. The atmosphere of your home will no longer carry the residue of intrusion, but the fragrance of divine presence. And hear this: when heaven moves in reversal, it multiplies. What is given back is not equal to what was taken, it is greater. The enemy's attempt to occupy your space has resulted in an upgrade of your authority over it. You will now be able to discern more quickly, resist more firmly, and declare more powerfully than you could before this moment. The one who entered thought they could make your home a place of unrest. But in the reversal, your home becomes even more untouchable than it was before. What was a target will now be a fortress. What was an open door will now be a sealed gate. And the testimony of this victory will serve as a warning in the spirit realm. Do not touch what belongs to God. This is the justice of the Lord, not vengeance in human terms, but holy, righteous correction. It sets things in order. He establishes boundaries. It marks the territory as belonging to the kingdom and the kingdom alone. So stand now, not only as one who endured, but as one who has overcome. Your atmosphere has been reclaimed. Your authority has been reinforced. Your position in the Spirit has been elevated. The enemy will think twice before attempting such an intrusion again, for the mark of heaven's defense is now upon you in a way that cannot be erased. Type "I receive justice" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 2020 now releases divine reversal over your life. From the moment the presence crossed your threshold at 3:06 a.m. on August 13th, heaven's eyes were on you. You have walked through awareness, instruction, empowerment, revelation, activation, and the silent exchange. And now, as this prophetic word draws to its seal, hear this truth one last time. You are watched, you are guarded, and you are chosen. The enemy's attempt was real, but so was your victory. What was sent against you had been turned back, multiplied in its reversal, and transformed into a testimony of God's faithfulness. The heaviness that once lingered will lift. The whispers that once unnerved you will be silenced. The atmosphere of your home will shift under the weight of His peace. From this day forward, the gates of your life stand sealed by the authority of Jesus Christ. Michael remains stationed, his sword still drawn, his shield still raised. The blood of the Lamb marks your dwelling. Every step you take is on ground claimed for the kingdom. Do not forget the lessons of this hour. Stay alert, stay aligned, stay anchored in the truth that you are not at the mercy of the darkness. The darkness is at the mercy of the light you carry. And that light is not a flicker, it is a consuming fire. So I bless you now. May the Lord cover you with His wings. May His angels surround your home. May His peace fill every corner, and His favor rest on every decision. Before the sun sets, claim it with your words. I am protected. I am chosen. I am covered. This is your moment of sealing. This is your declaration of ownership over your atmosphere and your destiny. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1313 now rests upon you. And beloved, as we close this word, I want you to know, every message spoken here is more than content. It is a spiritual assignment. When you choose to stand with this work, you're not just helping me speak, you are sending God's word into homes that need it most. Every super thanks, every channel membership, every gift through the PayPal link in the description becomes a seed in the soil of deliverance, healing, and salvation for someone else. As Philippians 4:17 says, "Not that I desire your gift, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account." I declare that every giver will see divine multiplication, that the same covering released over this word will rest on your household. So now, not as charity, but as a prophetic act, and watch heaven open over you.